Good evening, everyone. Myself, Dr. S.P. Fonglan, a proud alumnus of this Madras Veterinary College. And I will first introduce myself. I finished my BVSc in the year 1994. That is 1988 to 94. We were there in the college and I finished my BVSc. Then thereafter, 2 years, I was working in the field. In fact, being a fresher, I had an interest to start a business. So the easiest business to start was a poultry business. And I was not interested to do a poultry broiler business. This I'm talking way back in 1994. So what came to my mind is, start a parent farm. I started. But being a fresher, I burned my fingers. Then I shifted to Mumbai, where my uncle was having a woolen government exporting firm. I thought I would learn something new in the industry. So it was almost a year past, and I started realizing what's happening in the industry, and I have already missed 1 year. And this veterinary field is a very small field. So whenever we are in a new place, we like to get connected with our fraternity. So in that sense, I made a visit to Madras Veterinary College. And, always this meat industry was in the back of my mind. So the first place I visited this Bombay Veterinary College is the meat science department. And I introduced myself, I met them, we come closer together when you get to know that you are a vet and when you meet a vet. So at that time, I have my few friends working in Al Kabir, which was then one of the most modern plants at that time. And because of my connection there in Bombay Veterinary College, I came to know about few exporters as well. So this is how I got myself introduced into the industry. Then I decided that this is the way I should go forward in my career. So by that time, it was almost 18 months after myself leaving the BVSc degree course completion. Then I thought, yes, then I had my own plan, like we are going to get into industry, then we should have some specialization. So again, I joined the great Madras Veterinary College for my PG degree in meat science and technology. And I joined my PG in 1996 and I finished by 1999 because, there was some disturbance during our course study, some lockdown, some issues were there. So we had an extended stay in the college and by 1999, I finished my MVSc in meat science. So this is about my initial qualification. Thereafter, I added a postgraduate diploma in agribusiness management, then an MBA. So this being a sharing of experience, I'll be going on and off from my personal career and then about what I had experienced in the industry. So my topic today is, experience of a meat technologist in the Indian meat industry. And right now I am employed with Frigorifico AP Foods Private Limited. This is a group company of Alana Sons Private Limited. We are an Indian MNC, and if you can see the background, we are the largest exporter of buffalo meat in the world. So, this meat industry is one of the most happening industry today. Exports are a well-established sector, and the most vibrant is the current retail sector in the country. So livestock per se plays a very important role in the Indian economy. So if you work for an industry, like Indian meat industry, definitely you are supporting the Indian economy to grow too. So about 20.5 million people depend on livestock for their livelihood. And the livestock contributed 16% to the income of small farm households as against an average of 14% for all rural households. So it's a great contributor to rural economy and employment. So when you drive an industry, you have an opportunity to employ people and, support livelihood of many rural people, either directly or indirectly. And the livestock provides livelihood to 2/3 of rural community. It also provides employment to about 8.8% of the population in India. And livestock sector contributes 4.11% GDP and 25.6% of the total agricultural GDP. So this is the economic part of this industry and how this contributes to the nation building. So the livestock sector is an important subsector of the Indian farming activity as well. So meat is one of the major commercial component of the livestock sector. And the Indian meat industry shall be broadly segmented into export market and the domestic market, which we shall discuss in the coming course of this presentation or discussion. So if you tell meat market, the meat market includes fish, that is freshwater as well as seafood, poultry, that is bird meat and eggs, mutton means goat and lamb meat, pork, and beef, cara beef. Cara beef is the buffalo meat. And if you look at the domestic segment, the domestic segment is majorly unorganized and the wet market activity dominates the segment. The domestic segment is now getting organized with the establishment of hygienic modern meat outlets and online startups. Many of you might have heard this because you people are in Chennai. Licious is there, Zafresh is there, this Tender Cuts is there, many are coming. And if you look at the value of the domestic meat market, it was 330,000 crores in the year 2019 and is expected to grow to rupees 460,000 crores by the year 2024. And if you look at the export segment, it is highly organized and the general sales volume is around 24,000 crore rupees in the last fiscal. So this this graphical representation also tells you how this industry has grown at a compounded annual growth rate of 6.5%. At 2015 it was 245, 2019 it was 330, and in the year 2024 it is forecast to reach 460 plus thousand crores. And this FAS New Delhi, this is a Food and Agriculture Service under the United States Department of Agriculture. They have their offices in different countries and one is in India. And they have they regularly estimate their segment of the business. So this FAS New Delhi, which takes care of this livestock sector, estimates India's cattle production in marketing year 2021 at 69.8 million head. And India is on track to see herd numbers increase by some 4 lakh head from the 2020 USD official number of 69.4 million. So it adds 4 lakh to the already estimated 6.4 million heads. Since January 2021, international meat prices have increased by 14.3 points, that is 14.9%, with poultry meat prices registering the sharpest increase, that is plus 17.1%, followed by bovine meat, pig meat, and ovine meat. The higher prices resulted from increased global demand amidst inadequate increase in the global supplies from major exporting countries. Why I am putting this data is, in between, for the past 18-20 months, the global economy was in a turmoil because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And the food industry is one industry which got seriously affected because movement of animals were stopped, movement of goods were stopped, ports got closed. So in spite of all these things, all these turmoils, 2021 looks positive. This is what I'm trying to tell you by putting the data in this slide. And looking at the top states in terms of meat production, Uttar Pradesh ranks number 1 at 15.1%, Maharashtra, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana in the descending order. And these are the states which contributes in a big way to the Indian meat production and exports. So like I told you earlier, there are two segments operating in this category of meat. One is the export market, the other one is the domestic market. I will be sharing you my experience in the export market right now with you. See, this is how a modern buffalo avatar looks like. And you can see a white colored dressed gentleman on the right corner. He is a vet. He is doing offal inspection. So what are all the export categories? What kind of meat we export as a market? We export frozen boneless buffalo meat, chilled boneless buffalo meat, frozen buffalo offal meat, frozen sheep goat carcass, chilled sheep goat carcass, and frozen sheep goat meat cubes. These are, like retail cuts, which are packed in 900 grams or 1 kg packs. And talk about meat exports and production. The Indian meat export sector is dominated by the buffalo meat exports. And the buffalo meat is popularly known as cara beef. India, one of the largest exporters of buffalo meat in the world, exports to around 70 countries across the globe, including Hong Kong, Vietnam, Malaysia, Egypt, Indonesia, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Philippines, and UAE. So, you can understand the enormous reach of the Indian meat. Across continents, our meat is being marketed in around 70 plus countries in the world. That means India is feeding 70 countries with meat. In the calendar year 2020, India produced around 3.65 million metric tons of cara beef. The rising cattle numbers and improvement in India's domestic supply chain shall support the anticipated expansion. Yes. COVID has come down. Economy is rebounding. You might have heard this in the papers, the diesel consumption is increasing, the power consumption is increasing. It all means, the economy is growing. These are all the indicators which tells you how the economy is boosting up. So when there is a boosting up of the economy, definitely there's going to be a good demand for Indian meat. And for supply, there should be a source for raw material, and the rising cattle numbers and the improvement in India's domestic supply chain is a positive signal to meet all these requirements. The improving international demand shall help lift cara beef exports to 1.4 million metric tons against the earlier projection of 1.2 million metric tons. That is, earlier it was projected that in this financial year, we may export 1.2 million metric tons. Now, looking at the demand that is available currently in the markets, the forecast has been pushed ahead to 1.4 million metric tons. And in India, if you look at, the farmers, the holding of animals are very small, 2, 3 maximum. Of course, many farms are coming up. Large farms have started seeing the race. Graduates from IIMs are getting into this business. Branded milk is coming up. Bottled milk is coming up. So this is an happening industry. And where from you get this cara beef or the buffaloes? This is a byproduct of the Indian dairy sector, which diverts the spent unproductive water buffaloes and the surplus male buffaloes to slaughter. Like a farmer can, after this buffalo stops yielding milk, it is a waste from the dairy industry, but the farmer can get a good return by selling this animal into the meat factories. He can add some of his earnings to it, and he can convert, and he will buy a productive milking buffalo. Means this meat industry is helping the farmer to convert his unproductive buffalo into a productive buffalo. That is the reason, if you see, in the past 20 years, the growth in milk production is enormous, and we retain the top position in the world. One big reason is that, this meat industry helps convert the unproductive buffaloes into a productive buffalo. Thereby, the nation gets more milk. This unproductive buffalo is converted into a delicious meat that is exported, and we earn the foreign exchange to the country. So this meat industry, just imagine how big and important this industry is in sustaining the dairy industry as well as earning foreign exchange. In all these two issues, it generates huge amount of employment, right from the top managers to the bottom line workers. And definitely this industry directly and indirectly contributes to the rural employment, rural upliftment, and women empowerment. So this is one good industry where, a vet can have a wonderful career. India exported around 7,000 metric tons of poultry meat in the calendar year 2018. The country has exported 14,000 metric tons of sheep and goat meat to the world for the worth of 330 crores, or it is $45.5 million during the year 2020-2021. And like I said earlier, buoyed by recent predictions of stronger economic recovery during the Indian fiscal year 2021-22, improving international demand for meat from both traditional and non-traditional buyers is expected to support the Indian cattle beef exports in 2021. This is going to be a good year. And this chart will tell you the destinations of the top 4 meat exporting countries. You can see India, Australia, Brazil, and Argentina, and how they have exported and where they have exported. It's self-explanatory. So in the world meat business, India is on par with Australia, Brazil, Argentina, or any big meat producing nation for that matter. So India in 2020-21, with 3.17 billion in exports, was the 5th largest global exporter of cattle beef. In terms of export volume, India trails Brazil and Australia. So India is retaining its strong export volumes by increasing sales to non-traditional export market as well as the traditional ones. Earlier, Vietnam used to be the biggest buyer. Now, due to various reasons, the demand has come down a bit, and that is being compensated by new markets wherein there is a huge demand for the Indian buffalo meat. Exports are likely to surpass 1.4 million metric tons against the earlier projection of 1.2 million metric tons, which we discussed earlier, and will increase by over 8% from the 2020 volume. With improvements in foreign export market consumer confidence and broader economic recovery, it is expected that there will be a pickup in demand for Indian products. So again, to sum up the meat exports, I have given this data again here, that the Indian red meat exports is worth more than 24,000 crores in the last fiscal. And where our meat goes, how it goes, and how this business is done. See, this chart is telling you the top 5 Indian market destinations over the years from 2010 to 2020. Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Egypt, Iraq. These are the largest buyers of Indian meat. And each bar diagram tells you how India exported to these various nations, and the quantities are displayed there. So who are our buyers? The bulk of the Indian exports go to the price-sensitive markets and markets that require halal certification. We have a robust halal system in the export plans. So our buyers trust the exporters in India as far as halal meat is considered. All exported meat products must be sourced from abattoirs and meat processing units registered with Agriculture and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority. So this is the regulatory aspect. This APIDA is a facilitating agency established under the Ministry of Commerce, which promotes the Indian meat business in the overseas market from the government side. And all export shipments are subject to compulsory microbiological and other testing to be issued animal health certificates by the certified government of India agency. So this is how the consignment is certified, regulated, and exported. Now let's look at the domestic market, which is a very, very vibrant market today. See, in the Indian market, just if you look at the size of the Indian meat market, the Indian meat market is worth US $31 billion, which is growing at a CAGR of 20% and is expected to reach around 65 billion US dollars by 2022. Such a big volume of business is there in the meat industry. And the domestic meat market is expected to touch $85 billion by 2024, giving branded players a greater share in the market, both online as well as offline. And India consumes close to meat worth US billion $30 annually, where 90% is handled by the unorganized sector. Many startups have come in. A lot of startup funds has been invested into this category, especially into the online as well as the organized offline categories. And, out of the total US 300 billion grocery market, the annual Indian grocery market as of today is worth $300 billion. And out of that, meat is the only largest category which has not been organized. Everything else is organized. So when it is not organized, it has left a lot of room to invest, to build, and to grow. And this leaves a huge potential for the business entrepreneurs to come in and make the best out of it. And the Indian poultry market, consisting of broilers and eggs, was worth 1,500 billion rupees in 2017. And the market is further projected to reach around 3,700 to 4,000 billion rupees by 2023, growing at a CAGR of 16.5% during the 5 years period 2018 to 2023. And the share of poultry meat is more than 62,000 crores of Indian rupees. Look at the Indian retail segmentation. See, it's an $65 billion meat opportunity that is available in front today. So huge investment is happening both in the export as well as the retail sector. See, the food grocery market was $354 billion in 2015, out of which the meat market was $31 billion. And by 2022, the food grocery is expected to grow to 720, and meat market is expected to grow to 65 billion. That is, both are growing in tandem at almost 20% of compounded annual growth rate. Why India? India is the world's largest, is holding the world's largest livestock population, world's largest buffalo beef exporter, world's second fastest growing packaged meat market, and 10% of India's forex income comes from fish exports. India is world's second largest fish producer and exporter, and India is world's third largest egg producer. So one should be proud to be a vet and proud to get into this industry and take advantage of all that is happening around us today. There is a huge opportunity that is lying in front of young budding vets. See the meat production that has happened in 2014 to 2019, the graph is growing. And see the consumption pattern that is in front of you on the screen. Across the nation, you see a lot of red and green dots. Red dots are dominating. Red dots indicate the concentration of people eating more of meat-based foods. Except for the northwest, the rest of India lavishly eats meat. So 70 to 70% of the country relishes delicious meat. So there is a great market potential. People want more meat, good meat, healthy meat. And like I told you, there are a lot of gaps in the Indian market. India is one of the countries with the lowest per capita meat consumption, with 5.6 kg in 2013 as compared to the global average of 33.2 kg. Suppose if the per capita raises by 1 kg, 5.6 to 6.6, hypothetically, you know how much meat we need to produce to meet out that 1 kg per capita increase? It has to be more than 130 billion kg. Suppose that if only 70% of the country is eating meat, even then it roughly works out to 100 billion kg of meat just to meet that 1 kg difference in the per capita consumption. Imagine what kind of market is there in front of us. With a population of about 1.3 billion, even a tiny per capita consumption increase has the potential to translate into a significant rise in the fresh meat volumes. Fresh meat volumes, where from it comes? Good livestock, good farming activities. The chain goes on expanding back to back. And, there is a shift in the consumer behavior, erosion of traditional culinary habits, and the acceleration of consumer lifestyles, underpinned by ongoing urbanization, both men and women getting into the job line, are leading to a decrease in the time spent in cooking at home in India. Then you want convenient foods. That is why you see convenient meat stores, convenient online meat startups. You punch the app in the mobile, meat is at your doorstep in a very short period. As a result, there is a growing demand for convenient, packaged, ready to eat, ready to cook, processed meat products. And if you look at the processed meat market, this segment is characterized into frozen, canned, and chilled categories. Frozen, canned, and chilled categories. Globally, also the same kind of segmentation is there. In India, also the same categorization is happening. And convenient processed meat foods are gaining more popularity among the urban segment, especially with the millennials, those who are experienced in traveling around. So if you look at the Indian retail market strengths, India is currently the second fastest growing processed meat and poultry market globally, with a growth of 22% as per research firm Mental. This is one agency which is doing research on the marketing side. Indonesia stands first in this category with a 26.7%, followed by Vietnam at 15.5%, China at around 14%, and Brazil at around 11%. India is one of the fastest growing retail markets for processed fish and seafood globally, growing at a CAGR of 25%, while Indonesia has seen a CAGR of around 20%. The need for convenience is the key driver behind Asia's growing processed meat, poultry, and fish markets, especially in Indonesia, Thailand, and India. Like I told you, this segment is driven mainly by the Asian markets these days, because the Western market is a saturated market today. So if you look at the Indian meat retail landscape, who buys the meat? India is a multicultural society with varied food habits and preferences. Majority of the Indian population, around 70 to 75% of the population, eat non-vegetarian foods in varied forms. Preference among available non-vegetarians foods. NCR region comprises of 4 crores of population, and majority population is in the 15 years to 45 years bracket. NCR is the national capital region, which comprises New Delhi, Gurgaon, Faridabad, Saibabad, and the adjoining areas of the Delhi. And that is a huge population with a lot of earning potential. So that is one big market segment where producers of this kind of food concentrate. And the same potential is available in most of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities in India as well. So this population demographics demand a good market potential for processed and non-veg foods in this region. And this is again the size about the market. The total size of the non-vegetarian home use market is $20 billion per year. Of this, the urban market accounts to around 8 billion. In this, online was 3 to 4% pre-COVID. This COVID and post-COVID has brought in a drastic shift in the consumer behavior, buying behavior, and preferences, towards meat. So from 3.4% pre-COVID, it has increased to 10 to 12% during the current period, the online buying purchase behavior. The organized sector, tender cuts, is one such startup having online deliveries as well as offline stores. They revealed in a news magazine that their online versus offline retail share was 60-40 prior to COVID, and online share has increased to 85 and offline reduced to 15 during the last few months, owing to the change in consumer buying behavior during the COVID-19 pandemic. Organized on-demand meat delivery platforms like Meatigo, Licious, Fresh to Home, Intercuts, Easy Meat, Zafresh, and other delivery platforms like Dunzo have captured only less than 1% of the market to date. Though so much is happening around us in terms of online startups and organized meat retail shops, if you look at the volume so far they have reached is hardly less than a percentage. And this is how India consumes meat. Poultry meat has a share of around 50%. Buffalo meat has a share of around 18 to 20%. Goat meat around 14. Sheep around 8. Pig around 5. And cattle, of course, that is when they have very limited availability, so it's around 4 to 5%. So most of the online meat retailing startups have revealed that they have experienced 2.5 to 5x growth in their sales during the last 6 months. And as estimated by the Euromonitor International, the consumer market size of fish and meat segment in India is 2019 was $94 billion. Every marketing firm is studying on the Indian geography to explore the meat market potential that is available. This is a very big potential available today, awaiting a big change in the coming days. Like I told you, again, the segmentation about the online and the organized startups. Out of the rupees 3,030,000 crore Indian meat retail business, 90% is unorganized wet market. And out of the 10% organized segment, a meager less than 1% is under online retailing. And out of this 1%, 80% share is handled by super verticals like Zafresh, Licious, and Fresh to Home. The picture is self-explanatory. So now comes, what you are expecting, role of or opportunities for vets in the meat industry. How we can get into this industry and how we can grow. The primary objective of a veterinarian in the meat industry is, food safety. And food safety comes through your primary techno-managerial job of antemortem and postmortem inspection. The primary and the important role of veterinarian in the meat industry is his role to ensure food safety and meat wholesomeness. He she shall be the authorized person to carry out antemortem and postmortem of the food animals meant for slaughter and packing. IS 1982 Code of Practice for Antemortem and Postmortem Inspection of Meat Animals by Bureau of Indian Standards defines in detail the AM and PM activities that shall be carried out by the vet. So we have the standards available. We follow the standards to ensure wholesome and safe meat. Then comes the system management. Meat industry incorporates many certified systems to ensure food safety and food quality and safety, such as quality management systems, food safety management systems, environment management systems, occupational health and safety systems. To man all this system management, industry need qualified veterinarians who have a passion to run this business are always welcome into this industry. ISO 22000, FSSA 22000, HACCP, BRC, ISO 14001, OHAS 18001, etc. are various food safety standard certification schemes adopted by the Indian meat industry. In addition to this, the IT-enabled services like enterprise resource planning, IoT, IOF, etc. are also being deployed in the Indian meat sector. technology-driven AI, artificial intelligence-based supply chain management, many such whatnot. You talk about any blockchain. Blockchain is one good technology that has been employed in the industry to ensure traceability. So the vets who are having a flair for the IT side of things can also have a beautiful career built in this industry. Then comes your production, quality assurance, purchase, and general management. Vets with additional postgraduate qualification in the streams of management, microbiology, food technology, livestock production technology shall enable them to catapult their career graph in the meat industry. Based on the personal flair for growth, one can choose a career in production, quality assurance, purchase, and general management in the Indian meat industry. You are seeing this beautiful picture. A young woman in a business suit climbing up the career ladder. But you should not forget to miss, every step in this career ladder is hanging on a single rope. Career building is also like this, walking on steps which are hanging on single ropes. So one has to have the acumen to balance while we step up in this career ladder and ensure that one reaches this goal and have a successful career. So we have come to the end of the presentation. On display is, this is the premier brand of mutton we sell in the Indian market as a company. This is Safa, is the buffalo brand of meat we sell in the Indian market. And let me close with the quote of Neil Armstrong. It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. So every step you make once you are out of the college in your career graph should be a giant leap in your career. I wish you all a very successful career in the coming days. Jai Hind. Thank you.